All right, it is number 11, Sports Mashup number 11, halfway to 22, of course, kind of a thing that I do typically is just to be an idiot and say halfway to this number because we are halfway to 22 and get that out of the way. But number 11, May 12th, 2021 is the date. This will be uploaded probably on the 13th technically, after midnight probably, but that is what it is. I would say this is the most information we've had on a doc in the history of this program, so we'll see how long it takes us. Last time we had a good amount of stuff and got it done pretty quick, but let's just get through the NBA as quickly as possible here as we start off with this sibling thing that nobody shuts up about.
Yeah, Lonzo takes a dub on little bro in Sunday's game, but Lonzo shoots 4 of 4, or 4 of 14, 4 of 11 from 3, has 12.6 assists. LaMelo shot 10 of 19, 2 of 5 from 3 for 22 points and 5 assists.
I mean, LaMelo's much better, so I'll go on record as saying that.
But Lonzo couldn't even get a shot inside the arc. The fact that he shot 11 threes.
That seems like a little extreme to me. But
and then what? You got
shout out Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, stands now atop the triple-double throne.
I mean, to be fair, if you watch that game, I'll steal this reference from a morning radio show I listen to occasionally. It looked like the Wizards players were running away from rebounds like it was a grenade so that he could get rebounds in that game. So, but, legend of the game. The game's different. I think it's a lot easier to get triple-double now than it would have been in Oscar Robertson's era, who had the record.
Well, no, and they talk about, too, Oscar Robertson got his, in 146 games or something.
Yeah, it's absurd.
And then what? We got the Celtics. Jaylen Brown has a torn ligament in his left wrist. He's out for the rest of the season.
Is he going to be out for the playoffs too?
I believe so.
That is brutal. I didn't think the Celtics had that much of a shot to compete with Philadelphia, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee, but man, goodbye to them at that point. I mean, Tatum's still there, obviously, and Kemba, but yikes, that's brutal.
Jaylen Brown was averaging 25 to 27 points a game. So losing that.
I mean, he's very good ball player. Nice player. Good, seems like a good enough guy, too. So
I'll let you take this next one because I know you like it.
The A-Rod thing?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm so sick of hearing about A-Rod. Seriously. I know the Cardinals play on Sunday Night Baseball. Can't wait for him to sound like an idiot, as is the usual for him. And, let's give a shout-out to Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. How about that? Little claps for the Bostonian Ben Affleck and, really breaking A-Rod's heart, I guess, apparently. So I don't like A-Rod, and the fact that they didn't get the Mets when they tried to get the Mets last year, and now they're not closing the Wolves deal yet, which I'm sure they will be, and then he'll make sure he gets himself in front of everybody. Oh, I'm the fake quote-unquote owner of the Wolves. Oh, man, look at me. I'm A-Rod. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sick of A-Rod. I really am.
And then you got the teams who have clinched the playoff berths. And you've had 4 teams so far this was before the games tonight, that have been eliminated. We had 4 teams from the East and 3 teams from the West. You've had Philly, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee clinch, and Miami. But in the standings of the East, Miami is still the 5th best team in the East. There's a team above them.
You had Atlanta and New York clinch tonight.
So Atlanta was above Miami, but they hadn't clinched yet.
The 4-5 matchup in the East is going to be Knicks, Hawks, or Hawks Heat, or Knicks Heat. So one of the 2 of those 3 teams will be in the 4-5 matchup in the conference. The other one will be in the 6.
And then in the Western Conference, you got Utah, who clinched a division. Oh, and Milwaukee clinched a division. In the Western, you've got Utah clinched a division. The Suns, Clippers, Nuggets, Dallas, who also clinched their division. Then you had Golden State, Memphis, who clinched a play-in berth.
Yeah, I mean, the Suns are going to end up playing the freaking Lakers or Warriors. I mean, what a disaster.
And the Suns are like a game out of clinching their division.
I don't really understand the point of divisions in the NBA. Like, why do they do that? Why not just have 2 conferences and go from there?
I guess
Divisions mean nothing in the NBA. I don't understand it.
I think it guarantees you a playoff berth if you win your division.
I also think that it gives you like more games. It like helps fill the schedule. Like you'll play a bunch of these games against divisional opponents instead of just having a bunch of random opponents. But it's still stupid. I don't understand the point. But whatever, it is what it is. And I put at the bottom here, a Warriors-Lakers play-in tournament game might make it worth watching. I might. That's a heavy might put that on if that happened. I'd love to see the Warriors beat them. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I don't want the Suns to play either team. But if they were going to lose a playoff series, I'd rather lose to the Warriors than the Lakers. I have a lot more respect for the Warriors than the Lakers. So we'll just leave it at that, I guess. But we are recording after the NFL schedule was released. And it was basically leaked all the way at like 5 a.m. So we do have that to get to. But we also got this topic, which everyone's all flipping out about. Who the hell cares?
Yeah, I was watching ESPN yesterday, and Max Kellerman and crew were going off on this.
Max Kellerman is a fraud.
Him, Ryan Clark, I think it was Booger, and they were all not liking this.
It's because they're paid to sound like morons on television, especially Booger McFarland. Booger McFarland, how him and Kellerman are still on TV is shocking to me.
But the topic is that the Jags are expected to sign Tebow at tight end.
I mean, who cares? First of all, he's not being signed as a quarterback. Second of all, he's not even going to make the roster. I'm telling you right now, he will not make the roster. He's more likely to become a coach on their staff than make the roster as a tight end. He's 33 years old or whatever.
Well, that's what the lady on the thing said. She's like, what if this is just a ploy to get him in the building, get him around everybody, and then just to bring him on as a coach?
Well, everyone wants to compare it to Kaepernick, and there's like no correlation there at all. Like, I'm also sick of hearing about Kaepernick, to be honest, and I really don't care either way about the entire thing. But I'm also sick about hearing Lonzo Ball and LaMelo Ball and all the Ball brothers. Oh my God, it's supposed to be the next great thing. I'm sick of hearing about A-Rod. I'm sick of hearing about Kaepernick. Honestly, I don't hate Tim Tebow, but I'm sick of hearing about him too. Who the hell cares? He's a failed professional athlete. Let's just leave it at that. He was a great college football quarterback. What has he done since then? Played in the minor leagues for Binghamton, Syracuse, where the hell he was there, and batted like 094. I mean, it's hard to play baseball, obviously, but who cares? I mean, enough with Tebow, right? I mean, come on.
And the Colts signed left tackle Fisher to protect Wentz. Was at Kansas City last year for 1 year, $9.4 million. But no one knows when he'll be able to play this year. He tore his Achilles in the AFC title game, and he missed half of 2019 with a core muscle injury.
I'm trying to think. I wonder how much his contract is guaranteed. Because a guy that gets injured that much, you'd think there's some incentives in there for it to get up to $9.4 million.
I don't know if he missed the first half or the second half of 2019.
I think he'll – well, let's see. The AFC title game was late January, so I feel like he could be back late into the season.
No, I'm just saying I wonder if he missed the first or second half of 2019 with his core muscle injury.
Yeah, I don't remember. More Chiefs news, though, as what did they do here? Never heard of this guy.
Oh, it's Sean Colkin. Tight end Sean Colkin. No. Sean Colkin was cut by the Chiefs after asking to become the first player to be paid in cryptocurrency.
It's a weird one.
The
Probably
Chiefs
trying to get his name.
Chiefs cut him, and they cut him and 2 others Monday. He was trying to be Kelsey's backup. They've released him, backup O-line Brian Witzman, and waived quarterback Jordan Ta'amu.
Yeah, he was quarterback for the St. Louis Battlehawks of the XFL.
They had also just signed Blake Bell in free agency and drafted Noah Gray from Duke.
Tight ends?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So him asking for all this. And I think that it was either the offensive lineman or the quarterback were also asking for this.
It's kind of weird.
Cryptocurrency.
It seems a bit much, but To each his own.
And then possible spots for the Falcons to trade Julio Jones if they decide not to keep him. New England, they have $16.5 million in cap space, and they have some receivers there.
Yeah, they could use him though more than anybody. I hope to God he doesn't go to San Francisco.
San Francisco is the next, and they have around $17.5 million in cap space, and they could use a real big time threat receiver.
Yeah, I think they're fine personally as a NFC competitor. I think they're in good shape. They got Brandon Ayuk and those guys over there. They'll be fine.
Who weren't healthy at all last year, couldn't stay healthy.
No, and they had a lot of COVID issues there too. Like they played the Packers with like a practice squad team out there and got destroyed. I don't even know why they had to play that game on the Thursday night. They should have moved it to Sunday.
But this is the team I definitely wouldn't want them to get or want them to go to.
Yeah,
is the Colts, who have just over $21.5 million in cap space.
Colts are going to have to be tricky with the cap here because I don't think Quentin Nelson's new contract yet. He's going to become one of the highest paid offensive linemen in the history of the game, if not the highest paid whenever he gets a contract. Trying to think of other young guys they got that are going to need paid. What's his name? To be honest, their offensive line as a whole is expensive. You bring in Fisher, 1 year, 9.4. Obviously, it's not all guaranteed, but Braden Smith, Ryan Kelly, they have a very expensive offensive line coming soon. And also, Darius Leonard's going to get paid eventually, I'm sure. So,
and then you have the Raiders, who only have $5.279 million in cap space.
I mean, since according to everybody on Twitter, Rodgers is already on the Raiders or Broncos, so put Rodgers and Julio together on the Raiders and see what happens, you know? Which we'll get to that soon.
Can you imagine him, even with Carr out there?
Can you imagine Julio Jones and the Packers with Devontae Adams and Aaron
Rodgers?
That would be fun.
I'm just, if he's at Oakland or Vegas.
It doesn't get much better.
With Carr, you have him and Waller and which Alabama receiver do they have?
Ruggs.
Yeah, Henry Ruggs.
I don't know. I think, to be honest, I'd rather watch Ridley, Jones, and Pitts with Matt Ryan.
Well, yeah.
I wonder if they'll keep Julio. I really do. I know if they trade him, it'll be post June 1st because of the dead cap thing. Same thing with Rodgers, except it's more extreme in this.
These are just the 4 most viable spots where you would go.
Yeah, and I think with the Packers drafting a receiver in the 3rd round, they're not going to even – I don't think they were ever going to do it in the first place. They always are in the rumors to get a receiver, and it's just annoying at this point. But I didn't even know Chris Berman was still doing anything. But apparently
welcome Tampa Bay, Julio Jones.
All right. You already have enough. I do hope that your team destroys the Cowboys in week 1, but we'll get to the schedule soon.
And Chris Berman signs a multi-year extension with ESPN to host NFL Primetime. Announced it Monday on his 66th birthday.
Yeah, congrats to Chris Berman. I've always been a fan. But why do they do this on ESPN Plus? Like, no one even knows this really exists except for hardcore NFL fans.
I guess it was his idea to do it on a streaming platform.
I mean, I have ESPN Plus. Do I watch this often? Not really.
NFL Primetime went off the air at some point in 2016 or something. And then 2018, he went to the network and asked if they could bring it back. And they had just brought out ESPN Plus, and he asked if they could do it on there. So it was his idea.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I mean, you think about it, it's like highlights are so accessible now. You can get highlights to games seconds later.
But it's not him and who it used to be because of COVID or whatever. So it's him and Booger.
That's bad. That's really bad. Well, they revealed the schedule. They finally revealed the rest of it. I think like 80% of it was probably leaked. But we're going to go over some notable Sunday night games, some notable games overall, Thanksgiving games. The first game, which is the Dallas Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That'll be a Thursday night game. Do you expect your team to win that game by 25 like I do?
Yeah.
I want to see the Cowboys get – I always like watching the Cowboys get embarrassed. I like Mike McCarthy still, but I'd like to see them get embarrassed. And I don't even really hate the Bucs at this point. I just like whatever. There's
I'm
not
not-
very many teams that I actually hate, to be honest.
I'm not thrilled with the Sunday night schedule.
The Monday night one's even worse. I didn't even put that on here. The Monday night schedule is atrocious, and it always is, I guess, but it's pretty
Like
bad.
the Sunday night games are usually way better than the Monday night games. And the fact that the Packers have 3,
Means they know Rodgers is going to be back.
the Chiefs have 3, but the Super Bowl champions only have 2.
And one of them is like automatic no matter what. The Patriots won, but
I believe the Cowboys have 2.
Cowboys always get multiple. Just how it works.
The Ravens
I don't know
have
if they're
2.
still a ratings booster, but some of these games you got to put in there. And the first Sunday night game's atrocious. Bears, Rams. Who the hell wants to watch?
And the
Andy
Packers
Dalton, Matt
games
Stafford?
they're only like the last 2 are only like 3 weeks apart.
Yeah, I don't really understand why both of those are on there. But whatever, they always end up.
The
playing
Vikings,
Bears
I
and
think,
Sunday
had like
night.
3 Sunday night games. When did they become a Sunday night team?
It's all about matchups. First Monday night game is Baltimore at Vegas. It's okay. I'd rather watch the Chargers on Monday night. I think they should have gotten a Monday night game, but it is what it is. Notable week 1 afternoon games. Green Bay at New Orleans. Is it going to be Jameis Winston against Blake Bortles or Jameis Winston against Jordan Love? No, it's not going to be, people, because Rodgers is going to be back.
Or could,
Mark my words.
Could it be Chad Kelly or Kirk
Oh,
Bickert?
please. I think them signing Bortles today kind of tells you they're not going to bring in both of those
Did
guys.
they actually sign him though?
Yeah, they did. 1-year deal, I think. Schefter tweeted that he was in Green Bay to sign. I don't think it's officially official.
See, I
Schefter
saw
tweets
your
that
retweet, and it just said he was there to sign. It didn't say that he signed.
he's going to sign. The NFL account tweeted it too.
So is Jordan Love not going to
be?
be the backup again? Is he just going to sit?
I really don't know how they're going to handle that. I always felt like Love, the reason they let Tim Boyle go to Detroit, who's been the backup for like 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 years now, was because they were ready for Love to step into the number 2 role. But maybe Bortles is number 2 and they think Love is still that far away. I don't know. Or they're actually planning for Rodgers to be gone, which I really don't think is happening. They were always going to add at least 1 or 2 more quarterbacks.
Well, so why did you bring these other 2 into rookie camp?
Just to check him out, probably. I mean, neither of these guys has any chance to ever be a starting quarterback in the league. Just checking out, get some extra bodies in there. Because they only have 1 guy in minicamp right now,
Hey,
which
Bickhart's got a cannon and can run.
Yeah, never heard of him. All right, Cleveland at Kansas City is a week 1 afternoon game. Solid matchup at Arrowhead. I like that one. So a couple good afternoon games for Fox and CBS with those 2. Then a noon game that's going to get some storylines, at least in New York and Carolina. The Jets and the Panthers already going at it week 1. Sam Darnold, his first game as a Carolina Panther is going to be against the Jets, which is just weird and smart scheduling overall. So
It would have been even better if it was at New York.
that's true. It would have been. And also they did basically confirm the NFL is going all in for full capacity in every stadium, which obviously is going to happen. The NFL is the king. The NFL can do whatever the hell they want in this country. So I think we're going to be full board. I think the NFL is going to show the way that you can go full out and come back. Everybody's going to be back. MLB season next year is going to be full capacity. NHL and NBA seasons next seasons later in the year are going to be close to that. I think we're going to be back. The NFL is going to drive it just like they did getting through a full normal season, first one to do that. So there you go. Anyway, notable Sunday night games. Better than the Monday night games, but like you said, a little underwhelming. You got Chiefs at Ravens week 2. That's solid. Green Bay at San Francisco, which pisses me off that the Packers have to go to San Francisco for the 3rd year in a row. They've played 3 years in a row, and every single one's been in San Francisco. It makes no sense to me. They've also played, I think, 4 years in a row, and the first year was at Lambeau. So I don't know why they keep doing that, but whatever. Week 4, the storylines create themselves here. Brady goes back to Gillette, Bucks, Patriots. Should be a good game. I think
that's the week Edelman returns and he shows up in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that possibly being the case. Buffalo at Kansas City week 5. So I think 2, 3, and 4, and 5 are watchable, pretty solid. Week 1's kind of embarrassing.
But already 2 through 5, you've already got Kansas City playing twice.
Yeah. Buffalo, Kansas City is the rematch of the AFC Championship. Then weeks 6 through 11, I don't think I saw anything that was really notable there. Then you got Cleveland, Baltimore, which I know when they played on Monday night last year was a really good game, but whatever. And then Bears, Packers, week 14, Vikings, Packers, week 17. I don't see the point in having the Vikings and Packers week 17 play there, but whatever. And then week 18, they don't know the game. I'm sure they're just going to flex an important game into into the Sunday night, which will probably be a Chiefs game or something, so they can get like 6 Sunday night games or whatever. So there you go. Christmas Day. This will be a fun game. Browns, Packers, Lambeau Field, Christmas. Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love. Once again, just kidding. Baker Mayfield, Aaron Rodgers. That'll be a good game. Day after Christmas, Steelers and Chiefs, which I guess is a cool game. I don't know. We'll see. Fun CBS Week 14 afternoon game. Bills, Bucks. Josh Allen, Tom Brady. See how those two teams get to it, I guess. See what happens. And the one that's been promoted, ESPN's been tweeting it. CBS has been tweeting it. Rodgers, Mahomes, Week 9, CBS. Obviously, they're expecting Rodgers to be back because they've tweeted about it like 20 times in the last 2 hours. We'll see what happens. And then the Thanksgiving games are, as usual, not great. You got Bears at Lions. Who cares? The Bears will probably wax them because the Lions are atrocious. You got Raiders, Cowboys is an okay game. Hopefully the Raiders beat them. And then Buffalo, New Orleans is an okay game as the nightcap. So, New Orleans getting a lot of play. New Orleans getting a lot of play post Drew Brees. They got a big afternoon slot game against the Packers Week 1. They have that game, among others. I'm sure they'll play Tampa in a couple late afternoon slots or Monday nights. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess we have on here the Rodgers thing, which not much updates. I'm just going to keep running with the fact that I think he'll be back. So there you go.
The Packers brought in Chad Kelly and Kurt Benkert, an ex-Falcon backup to rookie camp. Then they also brought in Blake Bortles.
If Bortles is a starter and he leads them to the Super Bowl, then, it is what it is. I saw Barstool selling a shirt that says Star and Favre and Rodgers and Bortles. All in. Yep. We'll see what happens. But like I said here.
You would not like it if Blake Bortles was
I would not. I want Rodgers to be the quarterback for the rest of my entire life.
And if it wasn't Rodgers, you still wouldn't want it to be Blake Bortles.
I'd rather it be Jordan Love, yes. Clearly, the NFL is not too worried about Rodgers in Green Bay because they have 3 Sunday night games. Most of their games are 325s. They only have 3 or 4 noon games. So they're not too worried. If they're going to get 3 Sunday night games, that's pretty significant. Like, if the NFL was thinking that Jordan Love's going to be the quarterback, they wouldn't have given him Minnesota, Green Bay probably in Week 17. And maybe not even Green Bay, San Francisco. I think the Bears, Packers, like every year they have an NBC game. So that is what that is. But, I don't think they're too worried about it. I'm really not that worried about it. I don't think they'll trade him. If they do, I wouldn't be floored if they traded him, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So I'm not really worrying about it.
If they trade him, does that jersey come off the wall?
No. He's a legend of the game. He's my favorite athlete of all time. I don't think I could do that to him. I mean, I may not like him for a little bit or be disappointed, but it is what it is. All right, let's go to college basketball where Patrick Baldwin Jr., a 5-star, number 4 overall in this year's class, he's going to Milwaukee, University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, over Duke and Georgetown. And you know why he's doing that? Because his dad is the head coach at Milwaukee. So that's all you got to look into it. Pretty simple. Maybe they'll be good. Maybe they won't be. I saw they have an early game. They play somebody early. Milwaukee does like a big early season game. So they'll be okay, I guess. They're going to get one of the best freshmen in the country. I don't think it's going to take them that far. Well, probably going to save his dad's job.
So Shaq's son is going to play for Shaq's college coach. And that's at Texas Southern.
Yeah.
When his brother wanted to come play with him at LSU.
Johnny Jones, is that the head coach of Texas
I believe so.
Yeah.
And that was Shaq's coach at LSU.
Yeah. There's a lot of other NCAA stories we got here, don't we? Plenty of them.
Yeah, after Hartford makes their first ever NCAA tourney, they are now being moved to Division III.
I mean, you talk about a hose job by the
it's their own board.
The board at Hartford screwing the program. They made it to the NCAA tournament. Now their coach is going to leave. Definitely Gallagher, the head coach there, is definitely going to leave now. Why the hell wouldn't he? What an embarrassment that is. I mean,
it's not going to take place for a couple years.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I mean, it's
ridiculous. Hey, thanks for making an NCAA tourney run for us, getting us a little bit more on the map, getting us probably a little more
money.
Well, money and people sitting in.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the word I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
Like sitting in the. Like they want to come to school there. Applications. Probably got a little more applications.
Yeah, I mean
But,
the other
but
thing
we're
is,
gonna make you move from all the way from D1 to D3.
this
We're
annoys
not
me.
even gonna tip with D2.
Yeah, it's stupid. This annoys me almost as much as the whole transitional period when a team goes from D2 or D3 to D1. It's like, oh, Bellarmine, they get into the NCAA Division One, they can't be in the tournament for like 6 years. It's an embarrassment. Another one of those stupid things the NCAA does. So the whole thing's a joke and a complete screw job by Hartford's board screwing their program over after making the tournament. If they would have sucked and they did this, it's like whatever. They made it to the tournament and they hung around with Baylor for a good 20 minutes, real time 20 minutes, like first 8 minutes of the game. But it is what it is.
And then you got Sellers replaces Marshall as Central Connecticut's coach. Oral Roberts,
Asmus.
It's
a silent B. Asmus.
enters NBA draft after NCAA tourney run.
Hope he returns. I don't think he will, though.
Jordan game-worn UNC jersey sells for $1.38 million.
Jordan should have bought that himself. He's got the money.
NCAA president seeks name and license.
Something like that. I don't know the
Action before or near July 1st.
Yeah, I bet he does. What a fraud.
TCU gets 2 transfers from Texas A&M, Cassius McNeely and Emmanuel Miller. Miller was Aggie's leading scorer, 16.2 points and 8.2 rebounds, shot 57.1 from the field. Miller is a 5.7 or 6'7" forward, sophomore. McNeely is a 6'4" freshman guard. Both are from Scarborough, Ontario.
Canada.
And NCAA panel proposes text for flopping players.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I know they had the flop warning last couple of years. They enforced it really 2 years ago. Last year, they didn't really do much with it. But if it's that obvious, I think they should do that, definitely. If you just have a guy who barely gets touched and falls to the ground, why not? Or a guy that is way bigger than the person running into them and just flops backwards, yeah, I'd probably do that. But also, you have a couple more on here, we don't have a couple more here, but I have a couple more that I should have put on here, which was Ty Washington, a 5-star point guard for this year's class, who was committed to Creighton and decommitted, is now going to go to Kentucky. So a big get there. They needed a point guard last year. They really struggled with that. The year before that, they really had 3 point guards, and they were trying to make a big run before the tournament was shut down.
You just said that transfer they got last week was going to be their point guard.
Well, now it's like Ty Washington's a 5-star coming in, and he was also, the big thing with him is he was close to going to Illinois before he went to Creighton because he was recruited heavily by Ron Coleman, who left Illinois for Kentucky, and now Coleman gets him at Kentucky. So, and Nolan Hickman decommitted there too. So I don't know who's going to run the point there. I would think it'd be him, but he is a freshman. I know Cal teams are big freshman teams, but we'll see what happens there. Then the other one was Quincy Guerrier, a transfer, one of the top transfers overall this year out of the millions of transfers there's been from Syracuse. His final 4 on his list, I can't remember all the teams. It's like Memphis, Oregon, Illinois, and somewhere else. I assume he's going to go to Oregon. We'll see what happens there, but a big transfer name to look out for. And now we transition into the world of golf.
And Rory McIlroy wins the Wells Fargo Championship, shot 10 under, $1.5 million purse. And this weekend we have the AT&T Byron Nelson, defending champion Sung Kong at TPC at Craig Ranch, McKinney, Texas.
Yeah, I've never heard of this tournament before, but maybe I'll watch, maybe I won't. We'll see. Bada bing, bada boom.
You won't.
Probably not. Lots of things to do this weekend, obviously, watching sports and such. But weekly deGrom talk. This time he's on the IL, which sucks. But they got to get it fixed. That game he pitched against D-backs, he was dominant through 4, perfect game, then walked 3 in the 5th. And clearly he was in some discomfort. It's smart to get this done now. The Mets, I think, have won 7 games in a row. So they've been scorched. I know they played 5 of those 7 against the D-backs and Orioles, but still, you're winning games you need to win. But we'll see how they go from here. They're among one of the better teams in the league right now in terms of record. I think they're 19-13. Then you look at the 4 top teams right now. Cardinals, Giants, Red Sox, A's. I don't think any of those 4. If you had someone at the beginning of the season who were going to be the top 4 Major League Baseball teams in the middle of May, Cardinals, they were looked at as being a good team, probably the favorites in the Central, but maybe not top of the league. Giants were like probably 4th place in the West, people thought of them. Red Sox was like, I mean, they're going to be better than last year because they were horrendous last year, 4th worst team in the league. But will they be better than Toronto, Tampa, New York? Probably not, but they've been tremendous. And then the A's, who probably won't even be in Oakland for much longer, we'll get into that. They've been really good too. They started out like 1-6, and then they had an 11-game winning streak, and they've just been great since then. So those are the 4 best teams. It's obviously going to change. The Dodgers have just been horrendous this season. The Padres are dealing with a lot of things. It's gonna fluctuate as it usually does, and it should be interesting though. I'd like to see the Red Sox and the Giants, get something back. I'm not a Yankees and Dodgers. It'd be funny to see them lose to those 2 teams, but we'll see.
The Braves look to boost their bullpen. They bring back Shane Green, 1 year, $1.5 million. Same role as last year as their setup man. This year for Will Smith. Last year was for Mark Melancon. Since he missed the first 38 days of the season, he will only get $1.19 million of the deal.
Damn, that's brutal. The Braves have been atrocious this year. My God, I picked them to win the whole damn thing, and they've just been a train wreck. Good thing their division's not overly strong to this point. The Nationals and Marlins are really nothing, and the Mets and Philly should be okay, but atrocious season.
Then we got Cincinnati's Wade Miley pitches baseball's 2nd no-hitter in 3 days and 4th already this season against the Indians, who were no-hit for the 2nd time in a month. Had an 83-minute rain delay before the start of the game and is the first Reds no-hitter since Homer Bailey's in 2013.
I think no-hitters are starting to lose their lust a little bit. There's been like 4 of them this year.
I just said it was a 4th one.
Yeah. I didn't even read that part, but yeah. Aren't they starting to lose a little bit? Hitters have been atrocious this year. My God. Everybody's striking out. It's not good.
But we lost a good one. As Jordan Zimmerman retires yesterday, 2-time All-Star. He last pitched Friday, 2 scoreless innings against Miami. This season, he's only pitched 5 2/3 innings with a 7.94 ERA for the Brewers.
Yeah, that's about enough of him. Good luck to him post-retirement. He's an okay pitcher. Solid pitcher for a while for Detroit and Washington.
Mm-hmm. And the MLB wants A's to explore relocating from Oakland.
Yeah, I saw Jet Passon said that Vegas would be the favorite if they do. And it makes sense, putting some pressure on the local government there. And honestly, if they get out of Oakland and go to Vegas, as we saw the Raiders do, it would be a lot better for them and a lot better for the game, probably. I think Vegas has proven that they're a spot to put a professional sports team. The hockey has worked out great there with the Vegas Golden Knights. Granted, the team's been very good in all 4 of their seasons to this point, but Oakland doesn't seem like a great spot to have a professional sports team economically anymore, to be honest.
I mean, you have the football team from Oakland already go there.
Yep, and then you had the Warriors move to San Francisco, basically. So,
well, where'd they go? Santa Clara, right?
Somewhere like that, but they were in Oakland. Now they're not. So, and then you had, obviously, the fact that they have no NHL team close to Oakland. I guess San Jose could be considered close to there, but like I said, not a great situation in Oakland. I think the A's should move, but I think a lot of it's about putting pressure on the local government there to build that new stadium, which was a very nice looking stadium if they did do it, but we'll see.
And then Tatis Jr. tests positive for COVID and is put on IL with 2 teammates, utility players Jurickson Profar and Jorge Mateo, for contract tracing protocols.
Yeah, well, I think the days of games getting canceled or postponed due to COVID might be over, because this was a pretty wild situation with this many guys going out for the I mean, it's only 3, but there was also other guys they thought might have tested positive as well for the Padres, but they played today. And I think and I hope the days of shutting games down or series down for this is over. It looks like it might be with this.
I mean, also the Yankees, their third base coach had it, and some other coaches had it.
Yeah. I mean, you'd prefer that the vaccinations that they're getting in Major League Baseball are not the Johnson & Johnson because they're so like only 60-something% effective, and you don't love that. So you'd rather – I mean, the protocols are very loosened when you have 85% of the team or more vaccinated. Like you look at the Cardinals, none of them have to wear masks in the dugouts now. So, I mean, if you get 85% or more, you're in pretty good shape. You could still have a positive test, obviously. We saw Wainwright went on the COVID IL for a couple of days because his wife tested positive, but didn't have any situation there for the Cardinals. So I hope it's behind us in terms of shutting games down. I think it might be.
And then we have the Pujols saga.
2 of my all-time favorite athletes having some situations in the last couple months. One of them for a very different reason than the other, but I love Albert Pujols. Obviously one of my favorite players of all time, but Hall of Fame player. We all know that. First ballot. I don't understand why he thinks he's being disrespected here. He's been horrendous.
Dude's having a pretty good start to the season, though.
198 with a few homers. I mean, that doesn't do that much for me, especially when they have Jared Walsh there, who's been first baseman and DH, who is just knocking the cover off the ball this season.
So let him play first.
But they already have Ohtani DHing most games when he's not pitching.
What's their own fault, then, for letting the pitcher be the DH?
He can hit, though. That's the thing. He's a very good hitter, too. So,
well, Joe Maddon's got to decide if he wants to let a pitcher hit or the pitcher pitch.
For Ohtani, he's a different case, though. You got to let him do both because he's so good at hitting. You can't have that bad out of the lineup. But at the end of the day, it's like, I hope he comes back to the Cardinals for a farewell tour. I don't think it's going to happen. The only way that I think it happens is because I know he wants to play. So if he can go somewhere where he could be an everyday guy, like a horrible team like the Rockies, or I don't know, the Orioles or somewhere like that, if he could do that, maybe he'd do that. But the only way it happens is if he has nowhere else to go and the Cardinals say, you want to come be a bench bat for us rest of the season, ride this one out and go out in the place where it started, in the place where he was great, obviously one of the best runs in the history of the game, 11 seasons. But I don't really understand why he thought he was being – I guess I understand it because of his status and what he's done, but, like, he just hasn't been good forever. I mean, his last few seasons there have been a train wreck, and I know he's been unhealthy, getting hurt a lot, but I want to side with him, but I don't think I can fully side with him on this one.
My brother's idea was for him to either go the rest of this year to go play for La Russa in Chicago or to go play with Matheny in Kansas City.
I could see the Kansas City thing happening, definitely. But I think La Russa basically said, we don't have any room here.
He said to go play with either one of them because he played with Matheny and played for La Russa.
Kansas City I could definitely see.
And then next year, he said when they bring the universal DH, then the Cardinals will sign him.
I hope that happens.
And give him a farewell year.
They can still plenty of time left in the season to do it now, though. If he has nowhere else to go, the Cardinals should be making a call.
But the worst is, who do you get rid of?
I would literally get rid of anybody on the bench. Carpenter will stay because he's left-handed. Edmundo Sosa couldn't hit a ball if it was a beach ball coming after him. Lane Thomas, I think, is on the bench. Just get rid of Sosa or Thomas, throw Pujols on there as a right-handed bat. You're good to go. Bada bing, bada boom. 26-man roster. There you go. So, yeah, we'll see. On to the NHL we go. And Connor McDavid gets 100 points. Did it in 53 games. Not even close. I know the defensive goaltending, like I said last week, is not great in the North Division. Still impressive, though. One of the great seasons we've seen. Telling you. But we also forget how great Mario Lemieux was. Probably.
Did you say he was the 8th player to do it?
8th player to do it in NHL history, get 100 points, 53 games, bada bing, bada boom. But transitioning, we forget how great Mario Lemieux was. if not for cancer and injuries, he would be right there with Gretzky all-time points. I don't think he'd get to 28, 57, but he'd be damn close because he had I think Lemieux had 1,700 or 1,800 points in less than 1,000 games. He also had 2 seasons where he had 100 points in 38 games, which is absurd. I know the era was very point heavy and guys got a lot of points, but 100 points in 38 games twice is ridiculous. It's more ridiculous than Gretzky having that 50 goal in 39 game season. So Lemieux
didn't do it on his own either.
He had guys around him, yeah, but he was also just a stallion.
I'm saying he didn't have. It's not like he was the only guy in this line that scored.
Yeah, that's true.
Who was his line mate? Yager, right?
Yager, yeah.
Yager's on the later point of his career, but
the Penguins teams that won the Cups in the 90s were loaded with studs. Kevin Stevens was great before he had the whole thing go down. Brian Trottier is a Hall of Famer. He was on that team. Paul Coffey, I think, was on that team too. A very good team. But Lemieux, I think Lemieux is the second best of all time. I would probably make him the first best, honestly, in terms of pure talent. I just think he was off the charts. And like I said, cancer, injuries, the whole thing that happened. But, it is what it is. Another guy that's forgotten and great and is a Hall of Famer, Anze Kopitar, 1,000 points in 1,126 games. He's not I don't think he's as great of a two-way forward as Bergeron has been in the last decade, but he's right there with him. He's right in that class. He's got 2 Selkes, 2 Cups. He won a Lady Byng. Anze Kopitar has been a great player. He's a stallion as well. He's an enormous player on the ice, hard to take down, holds on to pucks, can score, obviously, and he's the captain of the Kings, leader, and a guy that people don't talk about.
The Knights said he's played with the Kings for more than half his career.
He's just been a great player, and we forget. All right, Stanley Cup playoffs will start Saturday. That's the only time we know, or game or series that we know will start on Saturday. It's Washington-Boston in Washington, D.C., of course, and then the Canucks are going to play a meaningless game against the Flames on that day, which is so stupid, but whatever. We'll gauge your thoughts in the series here in a moment, but let's get through this real quick. The NHL fined the Rangers $250K for the statement that was basically calling for the DOPS head, the Department of Player Safety head, George Parros' job. Less than I thought. I thought it'd be at least half a mil, but $250K. So Rangers.
It's probably less because they got rid of those 2 guys.
I mean, I don't know if they were involved though. I think the report was that they were distancing themselves. I just think that Dolan's a maniac, so does whatever he wants. It is what it is, I guess. But the Rangers fired the head coach David Quinn after 3 seasons. He went 96, 87, and 25, missed playoffs in 2 of 3 seasons. They made it into the phony playoffs, which I don't even know how they count as playoffs. The qualifying round last year in the bubble against Carolina, they lost that. They got smoked in that series. But I'm kind of surprised. I thought they'd give him one more go. You got a Boston U guy, Chris Drury, running the show now. You got a BU coach in David Quinn, who coached 5 seasons there, made the NCAA tournament 4 times, and they were the runner-up in the Frozen Four in 2015. So a little surprised they let David Quinn go. But let's talk about another BU guy, Sabres superstar.
Jack Eichel said there's a disconnect between himself and the Sabres over how his neck injury was handled this season, leaving his future with the franchise very much unsettled.
You need to, if you're a Sabres fan, get some pitchforks, go after the building. What a freaking
don't
disaster.
Don't do that.
Buffalo people are crazy. I probably shouldn't have said that, to be honest. But
yeah, that's what I said.
I'm telling you, though. A riot in the street, another joke. But seriously, if you're a Sabres fan, oh my God, you should be pissed. This guy's been a superstar player for 6 seasons. The team has been nothing but a train wreck. You talk about McDavid and the Oilers, they at least won a playoff round a few years ago, and they made it to the qualifying round last year. They're going to be the 2 seed in the North this year. But, oh, my God, this team is atrocious. They're a joke. You look at the Ryan O'Reilly trade. That was such a bad trade for them. They got a bunch of washed-up NHL players, a.k.a. Vladimir Sobotka and Patrick Berglund, who were atrocious at that point in their career. They got Tage Thompson, who looks like an okay player, but they give up Ryan O'Reilly, who goes on to win a cup and is the captain of the Blues now. So it's like, what are you doing? I mean, what a train wreck the Sabres are. The Rangers have been in the news a lot this year, but the Sabres have been even worse. From signing Taylor Hall and trading him because he didn't fit there and they were atrocious anyway, to this BS between him and how do you upset – like Aaron Rodgers thinks he has a bad – this is way worse in Buffalo because he has nothing around him. I mean, I know they've tried and they have some good young players there, but there's not enough around him, obviously. And their defense has been atrocious. And their organization as a whole has been atrocious. Botterill is a terrible GM before he got fired. Kevin Adams got absolutely taken out back by Don Sweeney in that trade for Taylor Hall, obviously. And Botterill obviously got taken out back by Doug Armstrong in the O'Reilly trade. So what a train wreck. I don't know how they're going to fix this. I kind of feel bad for Kevin Adams because he becomes a GM in a situation that's just atrocious to begin with. And I would be very surprised if Jack Eichel's not traded this summer.
He's out of there.
I think he's going to go to the New York Rangers in a trade. Chris Drury, a BU guy, is going to trade for another BU guy. And they're going to give up a lot. Probably 2 really good young forwards, I would think. Maybe Kakko or Hedel or both or Howden. And then a couple first-round picks probably. So that's going to be the big news of the summer when Jack Eichel is likely traded because I don't see how he goes back. And what's the point going back? The team's a train wreck anyway. This isn't Aaron Rodgers not wanting to go back, allegedly not wanting to go back to a good team. This is a superstar who's been in the league for 6 years now, hasn't even sniffed the playoffs. You look at guys that were drafted around the same time as him. McDavid was the number 1 pick, been in the playoffs, quote-unquote, twice. McKinnon has been in the league for, 8 years? He's been in the playoffs a few times, but a train wreck, an absolute train wreck.
How do you really feel?
What?
I said, how do you really feel?
Well, I said atrocious about 7 times, so there you go.
So we've got the playoffs are set. The West, we got Vegas, Colorado, Minnesota, St. Louis. The North, we got Toronto, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Montreal. East, Pittsburgh, Washington, Boston. Islanders, Central, Carolina, Florida, Tampa, Nashville.
And the matchups are all set except for the West Division. Now, if Colorado wins in regulation tomorrow, I believe they are the number 1 team in the West. They will play the Blues. And then it'd be Vegas and Minnesota. So let's get to some predictions, I guess, just throwing them out there. We'll start in the Central. We'll go from the Central to the East, and then we'll talk about the West and the potential matchups there. But Florida, Tampa Bay, an in-state series, the defending Cup champs, the Tampa Bay Lightning. This will be an interesting series. A lot of blood between these two teams. We already saw at the end of the year they were just going nuts after each other, but this should be an interesting series. I personally think Tampa would win in 5 or 6, maybe 7. They're going to get Kucherov back. There's no guarantee, though. I don't think Tampa is going to be just a bulldozer in the playoffs like they were last year, basically. But I do like Tampa in that series. Then in the other one, I like Carolina. I know Nashville's been playing really well, but I think the final in the Central is going to be Tampa Bay, Carolina. So do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, Nashville doesn't stand a chance.
They've been playing better, but I would tend to agree. You like the defending champs over Florida?
No.
You think Florida wins?
Yeah.
I can see that happening. I mean, I don't like I said, I don't think there's any guarantee with Tampa. They're just going to have Kucherov and Stamkos come back and be like nothing happened, but it's going to be hard to beat him. Vasilevsky is as good of a goaltender as you're going to see in the league. So, and the other one, I like Edmonton and Toronto. I think we need to have a Matthews-McDavid matchup. They've clearly been 2 of the best players in the league this year and in that division. I think Montreal's been too hurt. Carey Price can always win a series by himself, but I think Toronto's just a lot better. And then Edmonton, they're due to win a playoff series and get McDavid a bit of a run here. I'd love to see McDavid have a chance to get into the Stanley Cup final, but I like Edmonton and Toronto out of the North.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where it gets tricky.
Well, I guess we're going to the East.
I am going to take the Penguins to beat the Islanders. I think the Penguins are so much better than they were in 2019 when the Islanders swept them. I don't think the Islanders have the scoring. I think the Pens have a lot more speed and scoring and a much better defensive core than they did back then. The only question mark for me is Jarry. Can Tristan Jarry win a playoff series? We'll see. And then I just think the Bruins have just been so good down the stretch. Ovechkin's been injury-riddled issues. I thought Washington would make a big run. I said that at the beginning of the season they'd be in the semifinal of the entire Stanley Cup playoffs. But I think the Bruins win. I think we got a Bruins-Pens playoff series.
And
And
last
we got
night,
Sidney Crosby taking them back out and winning that. But
last night you should have said enough. Did you see? Last night that Boston sits almost everybody.
yeah, that was the entire team was saying they had like me and you could have laced them up.
And Washington played everybody, and only won 2-1.
Yeah, the Capitals are good, but when it comes to goaltending, I think I trust Rask and Swayman more.
It was Swayman in that last night.
Yeah, I saw they were going to have him as the number 2 over Halak.
Well, if you saw, after Halak's last time out, he kind of exploded, shattered a stick, and kind of went nuts on the boards.
Swayman's earned it, though. He's been really good, so we'll see. So I'm taking Bruins-Islanders in the East final.
What? Huh?
Or why did I say Islanders? Bruins-Penguins. I was looking at.
I'm messing with you on that one. I'll take the Islanders in that one.
All right, you'll take Bruins-Islanders. I'll take Bruins-Pens in the East. In the North, I'll take Edmonton-Toronto. You agree with that? And then in the Central, I'll take Tampa-Carolina. You'll take Florida-Carolina. That sound right?
Yeah.
All right. In the West, I don't know what's going to happen. I think the Avs will win tomorrow. It'll be Blues-Avalanche and then Vegas-Minnesota. I think that'll set us up for Colorado-Vegas in that final. I expect that to be the case. But we'll find out. Let's transition now to collegiate football.
Yeah, Nick Saban encourages vaccinations and new public service announcement. And he did this with SEC commish Greg Sankey, Charles Barkley, former Auburn coach, now U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville.
Congrats to them. Very cool.
Tennessee's top tackler, Toa transfers to Alabama. Played in 10 games, 76 tackles, 10 tackles for loss.
Didn't he post on Instagram like a sports car picture of a sports car, and then said "truly blessed" and then like deleted it?
I don't know.
Saban sent him a nice ride, and he decided to go there.
I couldn't tell you. Maybe he just needed an Uber from Tennessee to Alabama.
Before we get into the next thing real quick, I saw that Justin Ross, the receiver from Clemson, might be transferring. Can you imagine if he goes to Alabama? Holy smokes. Alabama is just going to be so loaded because Justin Ross was a guy before his injury when he played with Trevor Lawrence that freshman year in that national championship of Alabama. He was a guy who's like, this guy, when he comes out, he's going to be the number 1 receiver in that draft. And injuries have killed him, but he's got all the talent in the world. If he stays healthy and if he actually transfers and goes to Alabama, who's going to beat them?
After they just got that transfer
Williams
from Ohio State.
Ohio State, yeah. Ridiculous. I mean, it's just so easy for Saban. Jamison Williams, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now we got Michigan's linguist. And when I first read this, I was like, wait, they signed a linguist? That's just his last name. Michigan's linguist hired as Buffalo's head coach. He never even got to coach in Michigan. He literally just arrived at Michigan in January as part of the team's defensive staff overhaul and was set to be a co-defensive coordinator. He was a former Baylor safety and former assistant in Buffalo in 2012, 2013. Was also the DB's coach for the Cowboys in 2020. Had several stints with Texas A&M, Minnesota, Mississippi State, and Iowa State. He replaces Lance Leopold, who was hired by Kansas last week after 6 seasons at Buffalo.
Couple things here. I didn't even realize that Leopold left to go to Kansas. I think that one just went right past my head. I know he was a guy that was looked at as a possible guy to be hired at Illinois, but he ends up obviously Kansas. Very good coach, but quite a jump there to go from co-defensive coordinator, not even coach a game for Michigan, then become a head coach in the MAC, which is obviously famous for slick action on Thursday nights on ESPN. But that's interesting. Definitely an interesting hire. I mean, they've had some talent come out of there, and they've been pretty good. But the MAC is, out of the non-power conferences, I think the MAC is the best because, number one, when you start a dynasty on NCAA Football 14, very fun conference to play in. And number two, like I said, action on Thursday nights is a very good thing they got going there. So should be interesting to see what he does.
To go from being a DB coach for the Cowboys,
who had atrocious defensive backs, by the way,
but to then just going to be a co-defensive coordinator not even do it, not even
for 4 months.
Yeah, not even be a part of the game or any game at all at Michigan, just to basically transfer back or transfer out of there and go to Buffalo to be a head coach.
He's playing the long game. I bet Buffalo and Michigan play each other sometime soon. He's stealing the secrets, and he's going to Buffalo. He had it all worked out. He's an assistant there 8 years ago. I mean, maybe they're working on that, which, obviously isn't real, but could have been happening. All right, let's get to the betting as we wrap this up. And last week I went 1-1, 1-1, 2-2, 4-4 overall. I had DeChambeau finish 9th in the golf. I had Fleetwood finish 14th. I had Schwartzel finish 14th, and I had Lowry finish 65th. So there you go.
I was 3-5. I had DeChambeau as well. I don't know where the rest of my golfers finished.
So through the first 10 episodes,
even though DeChambeau thought he was done after day 2 and laughed.
Well, there you go.
Did you know this?
I did not.
He got on a plane and left and went home.
All right.
He had to get back on a plane and arrived back at like 6:30 in the morning and instantly went and got on the putting green.
Still finished 9th. Pretty good. All right. Total records through the first 10 episodes. Where are you at?
29-26.
I'm 29-24 due to a couple postponements. So technically my winning percentage is slightly better, but we'll check back after 20. I'll keep writing down my records and just add them up after 20.
Those postponements are not going to have to get played.
Well, is what it is. All right.
They're Mets games. They're not going to get played.
Yeah. AT&T Byron Nelson, 4 golfers. I'll do mine real quick. I got DeChambeau again. He's a favorite at plus 800. I also have Spieth at plus 1100. If I see Spieth with decent odds above 1,000, I'm going to take him every day of the week. He's due to win another. Get him back. I got Zalatoris at plus 2,200. Then a bit of a long shot because he's got an interesting name, Taylor Gooch, at plus 8,000. It's quite a name.
I also have Spieth at 1,100. I got Scotty Scheffler at plus 1,700, Sergio Garcia at plus 4,500, and Matt Kuchar at plus 7,000.
A couple of Texas golfers there, Spieth and Scheffler. Big
It's
time.
being played in Texas.
Texas fellows. There you go. All right, NHL lines. Like I said, Avalanche, I expect them to win the West and end up being the number 1 seed to face the Blues. I'll take them minus 1.5 against the Kings. They absolutely ran them into the ice tonight. I think it was 6-0 in the game they played tonight. Don't expect them to lose tomorrow as well. Then I'll take Vancouver in a meaningless game plus 1.5 at Calgary. Don't know why, just doing it. Neither of these teams is playing for anything except for draft lotteries. So there you go.
Ooh, bad decision. I got the Abs minus 1.5 as well. And I got the Flames minus 1.5 over
Big
Vancouver.
swing game for us. Vancouver, Calgary. All you got to do is lose by 1, Vancouver. That's all you got to do. All right, NBA lines. Take the Nuggets minus 5.5 against Timberwolves and the Clippers minus 8 at the Hornets.
I got Denver minus 6 over Minnesota.
Close enough, same thing.
And I got the 76ers minus 2 over Miami.
That'll be an interesting game to watch right there. That's a potential playoff matchup somewhere in the playoffs, I'm sure. I don't know where, but somewhere it could happen. We'll see. Cap it off Major League Baseball. Give me the Braves, who've been atrocious, as I mentioned, minus 147 against the Blue Jays. Give me the Royals, plus 105 against the worst team in the league. Between them and the Pirates, who knows who's worse. The Tigers, Boston Red Sox, minus 113 against the A's, and the Rays, plus 130 against the Yankees. Rays have lost the first 2 games in that series.
I'm going to take Washington minus 103 over Philly. Boston minus 109 over Oakland. Houston minus 1.5 over Texas, and Arizona minus 105 over Miami.
And with that, that'll wrap up number 11 of the Sports Mashup, the program that discusses sports, apparently. So there you go. We covered a lot of things there. And we will have some playoff games in the NHL under our belt. By then, we'll have a better idea. Maybe we'll talk about the NBA for more than 5 minutes next week, because we'll have probably some playoff stuff set in stone. We'll have more Major League Baseball stuff. I'm sure some crazy things will happen in the next week. We'll see who wins Byron Nelson, the whole deal. And we'll see you for number 12 on the 19th.
Deuces.